Hello and welcome to the No Balls Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick McDonald, with me co-host Finn McDonald. Today, we are talking about the active Hall of Famers that we think are going to make the MLB Hall of Fame once their career is all said and done. Finn, we have recorded this episode, more times than we would have liked to. So the first part of this episode will be a little redundant to us, but not the viewers. Let's start with the positions we've already done. The relief pitcher position was the first one that we did. Just to get it done, Aroldis Chapman, Kenley Jansen, and Craig Kimbrell, we think are going to be pretty much slam dunk Hall of Famers. The induction of Billy Wagner, I think, has opened up the opportunities for these guys to actually have a Hall of Fame career. Because if Billy Wagner wasn't gonna get in, who else was gonna get in? God damn it. And we think these guys are pretty much shoo-ins. Not necessarily shoo-ins, but we think they're very highly likely to get into the Hall of Fame. Other guys we had.
David Robertson.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and talk about the David Robertson case. 177 saves, I think, would be one of the lower marks for a reliever to make the Hall of Fame. However, he didn't really have a chance to close for the first half of his career because he was behind Mario and Rivera. So I think later it'll probably even be once Robertson falls off the ballot. He might have a resurgence on a Veterans Committee candidacy because he has over 1,000 strikeouts as a reliever in his career, and he's pitched forever. He's had a 20-year relief career. He's racked up stats. He was really good at his peak. He just was a setup man doing it. I think maybe not on his first try, or not even his 10th try, but maybe his 11th try, he might have a shot. Finn, you had a couple of younger relievers that you did feel pretty strongly about where they stand currently.
Yeah, I had Clase, Edwin Diaz, and Mason Miller.
Yeah, as more so Clase and Miller, because there's some of the younger guys. I would say that they're currently looking pretty good. They haven't shown any sign of faltering in their short big league careers. So, if that holds up, it's going to be really hard to keep those guys out, just because of how dominant they've been.
If Diaz gets another reliever of the year award, it might be hard to keep him out.
Yeah, Edwin Diaz, if he gets another reliever of the year award, like how the hell is he not in? I think he's fourth in relief pitcher strikeouts, active guys, behind Kimbrell, Jansen, and Chapman. And probably David Robertson as well. Robertson didn't show up on the query because he's not currently on a team. But yeah, those are our guys. Hader, Rafael Iglesias. I don't think maybe for Iglesias because he's a little bit older. I think he's around 34 right now. I don't have the stats in front of me. I did that on the first try, and now we're kind of going off of memory. And then Hader could be really interesting. And I think the guy, and you've already heard this, Finn, so no surprise to you. But I think the guy who could open up the David Robertson Hall of Fame candidacy is Devin Williams. And I wasn't blinking there. I was just trying to calibrate myself when my mouth is dry. Because if Devin Williams spends another couple seasons, let's say there's somebody who supplants him as the closer, or he goes somewhere else where he's no longer the closer, there could be a chance that Devin Williams has an undeniable Hall of Fame reliever career, and that opens up the chance for other guys. I think it's worth considering Devin Williams on that path with Hader and Diaz and potentially Raisel Iglesias. So, unless you have anything else you want to bring up with the relievers, Finn, we got it over pretty quick. Second time's the charm.
No, other than nobody's taking the closer role from Prime Mo.
Yeah, that's the argument for David Robertson. Just for even furthering our argument, Finn. David Robertson or Craig Kimbrell, who has a higher career BWAR?
David Robertson?
I believe it is David Robertson by 0.4 BWAR. I will quickly get confirmation on that, but it's actually Craig Kimbrell by 0.6 BWAR. So, if David Robertson didn't have a horrible half season with Miami in 2023, then he would be ahead of Craig Kimbrell in BWAR. So, we're going to transition to starting pitchers. Just for we'll talk about starting pitchers. I think we made it pretty clear who we think's in from the relievers. We had 3 locks at starting pitcher. Chris Sale is not one of them. Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, and Clayton Kershaw, we feel, are locks. All of them are over 70 career BWAR, over 3,000 strikeouts. I think Kershaw's just below that. And all of them are over 200 career wins and closer to 300 than 200. Chris Sale was our next guy that we think is probable. He's currently sitting around a 54 career BWAR. And we think that there will soon become a new standard for starting pitchers to get into the Hall of Fame because nobody's getting 3,000 or 300 career wins anymore. It's going to be rare for 3,000 strikeouts now just because of the lessened volume of the starting pitcher position nowadays. But we do think Chris Sale will get in. The Cy Young this past year really helps his candidacy. And if he just has a couple more good seasons to finish out his career, he'll get 3,000 career Ks. So I'll let you decide where we go from there, Finn, to sum it up for the viewers.
We got a catcher.
Well, no, between the other starting pitchers.
Bro, other starting pitchers will go to DeGrom, Wheeler, and Snow.
Yeah, and let's throw Garrett Cole in there as well. DeGrom and Cole are both sitting in the mid-40s and BWAR. And if we sound like a broken record with BWAR is as basic as it gets. It's literally how many runs did you give up and how many innings did you pitch? That's the calculation of it. It's pretty simple. People just got to learn it. Cole is sitting, facing a Tommy John surgery. He'll come back in almost 36 years old. DeGrom is in that situation right now. With how we've seen Cole prior to the Tommy John surgery, with how the decline was kind of written in white ink. I would say it was written in invisible ink. The decline was on the way. I'm not so confident on Cole. I think you feel very similarly. And we feel 50-50 on DeGrom. I think that extra Cy Young award helps DeGrom a good bit. And I think if either one of them is going to finish out their career well, I think it would be DeGrom. What do you have to say on that, Finn?
I agree. Most interesting case would be Snell. Because he could have 3 Cy Youngs and a lackluster BWAR for a Hall of Fame start.
Like, it would be almost unprecedented, I think, the amount of BWAR that he would have as a starting pitcher. I'll pull up the numbers, but, like, I think it would be, like, one of the lowest of all time. He currently sits around 23 B War, and what I'm gonna or like 3 Cy Youngs is gonna be really hard to keep out. The only player with 3+ Cy Young awards that isn't in the Hall of Fame is Roger Clemens, who nobody's denying him to be a Hall of Fame talent. He's just linked to performance-enhancing drugs. But Jesus fucking Christ, he's the best pitcher of all time. Anyway, Blake Snell, no. Are we confident on no for Blake Snell?
I'm not. I'll go 50-50 like I did DeGrom.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to side no on Snell just because I think the third Cy Young doesn't make him a lock. I think it gives him a conversation. I think if he has 4, like it kind of makes him a lock regardless of what the rest of the career looked like. But like for context, Sandy Koufax, who was a 3-time Cy Young Award winner, what do you think his career B WAR is, Finn? And he was historically known to be a guy who retired at 30 years old.
40.
Yeah, he was at 49. Snell's currently sitting at 23. So
Wow, I overshot by a mile.
I don't know if Snell can necessarily get there. I don't think it's impossible, but like I think he's got some real climbing to do past his age 33 season, which he's currently in. We'll have to see. Wheeler, let's talk about Wheeler, because currently we think he's the best out of all the guys we've talked about today. But he's as old as DeGrom and Scherzer, and Wheeler had his career injury stuff at the start of his career. Since then, he's been extremely durable, but he had the career injury stuff. Like basically, he missed 5 years, not 5 years, but it basically felt like 5 years. He really pitched 2 complete seasons on his arbitration and rookie contracts with the New York Mets, and those were great seasons, but that was basically it. He
To
pitched
me,
2018 and 19.
he is the best pitcher of the Hall. Very good.
Yeah, I think we'll be able to look back at it with an historic lens and say Zach Wheeler was freaking awesome, but I think people will be saying that in response to saying that he wasn't a Hall of Famer, because he's gonna have a 3.3 career ERA, and he's gonna pitch. He probably will finish with 2,000 career strikeouts and a fair amount of wins. It's just even once I think the standard for starting pitchers gets moved in a couple of years, I don't think Wheeler will necessarily be meeting even those lessened standards. Currently at a 36 career B WAR, I think he has some really great seasons ahead of him. He's really great seasons away from even having a chance. Any other guys here at the starting rotation or the starting pitcher position that are at least worth mentioning, even if we don't think we can make an argument right now?
Max Fried, again, all very good, right behind Zach Wheeler.
Yeah, Max Fried, Corbin Burns, probably going to be guys that fall into that candidate or that range of stuff. Depending on what happens with guys like Strider, we could be talking about something later. I think, Logan Webb also falls into that. Framber Valdez, like guys like that fall into, like, they're not going to have a chance unless they make a huge mid-career turnaround. It probably will happen. Let's move forward to whatever position you want to move forward to next, Finn. What do you think?
DH.
DH. Okay, since we didn't discuss him in the starting pitcher position, Shohei Ohtani, Finn.
Og.
I think he's a lock. I think he'll get to the 10 years of service time. I think that's the first obstacle for him, and I think if he plays, um, you know, 3 full more seasons, then he'll be at a point where his career B WAR is good enough to argue him in, and then I think the stuff that he does as a two-way player early in his career will get him some faith with voters. Even if he doesn't pitch again, I think he's a lock once he gets to 10 years of service time. What do you think?
I agree.
Yeah, he's legit. Not 100% sure what's going on with him right now, but that's something for us to talk about in a different episode, not this episode. All right. Other DHs, Finn. What do we have?
Rafael Devers and Marcell Ozuna.
Let's talk about Devers with the third baseman. Um,
Not just
we'll
Ozuna.
is there not a certain David Ortiz clone that you want to talk about? Perhaps he's 6'5" and 27 years old, with a Rookie of the Year in 2019 and a World Series ring in 2022. Think you've picked up on the name by now?
Jordan Alvarez.
Yeah. Yordan Alvarez, he hasn't played a lot of his career at DH. Neither has Ozuna, but Ozuna, he's going to get close to 300 career home runs this season. He probably will get 300 career home runs this season. I think just no on Ozuna.
I'm with you.
Like he played enough games in the outfield to where his candidacy doesn't boil down to be one of the better DHs of all time. Like, he was also just an outfielder until he was, 34 years old. Not 34, but 32 years old. So, Yordan Alvarez. He's not 34 years old. He's 37. He's 27, almost 28. 165 career home runs. 165. Wow, funny those are the same thing. Career OPS plus. 23.4 career B WAR. Yordan could finish with 400 career home runs, be like one of the best rate base hitters of all time. Fit. I struggle to see how like Yordan wouldn't be a Hall of Famer if he just continues to hit the way he has, and I don't see any signs saying that he won't. And if anything, maybe he gets a little less injured like he did in 2022 and 2023.
Yeah, I'd agree there.
I would say it's not a lock currently, but Yordan is on excellent pace. So, do you have any other DHs? We don't. I mean, Stanton, I guess, but it's like probably not. I think poor play and age, and now he's got elbow injuries somehow, has made it to where he's probably not going to get 500 career homers. He's going to have one of the most amounts of home runs to not make the Hall of Fame, I think, at the end of the day, but going to have to decide with no on Stanton. Probably not on Stanton. I think voters could go crazy over some gaudy home run totals. Got anything else, Finn?
Nope.
All right, let's move forward to a different position. What do you have, Finn?
Catcher.
All right, so here we are with the catcher position. Who do we have?
Nobody.
Finn, it sucks. We're talking about moving the benchmarks for guys. JT Realmuto leads all catchers in active F4 with 35. Joe Mauer was elected into the Hall of Fame with 53 career F4. Last season, on the Hall of Fame ballot, Brian McCann and Russell Martin fell off the ballot in their first season. Those guys, Russell Martin has more career F4 than Joe Mauer, and Brian McCann has like 2 less career F4. I don't think that there are going to be any new catchers inducted, like maybe ever. After Yadier Molina and Buster Posey get onto the ballot, because I think those guys will get in pretty easily. After those guys, I don't know if there's going to be another catcher elected for a long time. I think JT Realmuto would have been very interesting if McCann or Russell Martin would have stayed on the ballot, but those guys got dropped right away. So I don't know. Like, probably not.
He's gonna have to come out here and get a 60 B award, and that's just not gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. By the way, Salvador Perez is not a Hall of Famer. I think we could be pretty, like, a lot of people will say that he is. The discrepancy between his B and F4, I think, is a big problem with the big reason why the catcher position doesn't, the Hall of Fame voting is not favored towards catchers, because for the longest period of time, guys who could not play the catcher position played the catcher position for a long time. If Carlos Santana played in the 1980s, he would have played catcher for his entire career, and his walk rates maybe wouldn't have been as appreciated, but he would have had 325 career home runs as a fucking catcher, and he would have been a career 114 WRC plus as a catcher, and he would have been a slam dunk Hall of Famer back then, almost 2,000 career hits as well. Would have been an easy Hall of Fame inductee at the catcher position, because they didn't care about defense back in the day, and guys would just rack up the counting numbers. And now what we're seeing is catchers who are actually catchers can't rack up the counting numbers, because catchers already don't play every day. And then the guys who are good enough to play back there defensively aren't the best hitters. A lot of them are still very good, and we're going to talk about some of the guys who are currently playing that are still very good. But we might not ever see a catcher. I wouldn't say again, but it's going to be very hard for there to be another catcher to get 2,000 career hits. Like, I don't think Salvador Perez will get 2,000 career hits, and I think he's an example of a guy who, stuck back there defensively when he wasn't very good. JT Realmuto is second among active leaders in hits. He's at 1,240, and we're kind of seeing the end of the tunnel, I guess, for lack of better words, for JT Realmuto's prime. No other catcher on an active roster has over 1,000 hits. That's it between those guys. Guys to talk about, though. Will Smith's is pretty fun. Adley Rutschman's had a great start to his career. Sean Murphy's had a great start to his career. Cal Raleig's had a great start to his MLB career. Cal Raleigh's almost got 100 career home runs and 3 full seasons as a starter. He has a 14 career F4 and 4 seasons as a starter. For context, that 14 ranks him 9th among all catchers actively. Adley Rutschman is 10th. Will Smith is 4th. So I think Will Smith is maybe the most likely active guy at the catcher position, Finn. What do you think?
Yeah.
We just think it's nobody. They're going to have to change how the catcher position is represented in the Hall of Fame, because I don't see how guys even get in anymore. JT Realmuto had it's like a 7-year stretch where he was the best catcher in baseball. He's probably going to fall off first year of the ballot. Yeah. Next position, Finn, what do we have?
Bullpen catcher. Joking. First base.
So, first baseman. We have like two main guys to talk about: Paul Goldschmidt, Freddie Freeman. Goldschmidt, let's start with him. He's got over 2,000 career hits. He's got he'll probably finish his career really close to 400 career homers, 63 career F-WAR or B-WAR, and pretty similar in F-WAR. I think Goldschmidt will probably get into the Hall of Fame. What do you think, Finn?
If.
I think his MVP season helps him a lot. He's got Silver Slugger. He's got Gold Gloves. Stuff that we don't care about here on this podcast, but Hall of Fame voters love those things. So, yeah. Even if his career seems to be close to over, Goldschmidt 100%. A guy who he was pacing better than was Freddie Freeman. But Freddie Freeman looks like he's going to finish his career a lot better than Goldschmidt. I think Freeman has a non-zero chance to finish with 3,000 career hits, even though he probably won't. He's at 2270 currently, and he is almost 36 years old. Probably won't get there, but he'll get pretty close, and he'll get pretty close to 400 career homers. I think Freddie Freeman is as well. Finn will get into the Hall of Fame.
But not as a Dodger.
Yeah. He put up a ton of counting stats with Atlanta because he played there for so long, but his best seasons were in a Dodger uniform.
Unless they count 2020.
Which I don't necessarily think that we are, but anyway, that's beyond the point. Let's go to other first basemen.
Matt Olson.
We're getting to a tier of youngish first baseman. Matt Olson is third in active first baseman in F-WAR. Ahead of them is Paul Goldschmidt and Carlos Santana and Freddie Freeman. Yeah. Olson, as it currently stands, and we'll talk about him with B-WAR. He's at 34 career B-WAR. 260 career homers. He's 31 years old. Has less than 3,000 career hits. I think that's, or 1,000 career hits. Fumbled over my words there a lot. How do we feel about Olson, Finn?
I don't quite think he gets there. He's the best first baseman in the Hall of Good.
Yeah. I think he'll be an outside candidate. If he has a couple more really good seasons, maybe he sneaks in there and has almost 400 career homers. I think that's his way in there. I mean, I think he'll get 400 career homers, but if he pushes closer to 5, he was a really great defensive first baseman for a couple of years. It's not stupid to argue that. $500 million man, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Finn. 26 years old. Will probably push close to 2,500 career hits and 400 career homers. I don't think it's ridiculous to say that Vladdy gets in, but like, man, he's got to do some hitting.
He's got some work to do, but I think he's on pace.
Yeah, he's got some work to do, but he's on pace for sure.
Just because
Yeah,
he gets compared with Tony Gwynn, you gotta say Luis Arias and just plain old no.
yeah, it's a no for Luis Arias. For a guy like him, even though he is younger than you would expect him to be, he's not even 28 years old yet. He has less career hits than Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So no. Andy
I guess
Diaz,
he's nowhere near the homers.
yeah. Andy Diaz is a good player, not gonna sniff the Hall of Fame. Other guys,
Yandy Diaz.
Pete Alonso, maybe he hits a ton more homers, but I don't know. Probably not.
Non-zero chance, but has a ton of work to do.
Like a ton of work to do with Pete Alonso.
Like, he's gonna need 500 to make it.
Yeah, he is gonna need 500 to make it. I don't know if we'll get there. I guess we'll talk about him in the outfielders list. So we're not going to talk about that player. We'll talk about him with the outfielders.
Bryce Harper.
Yeah, we'll talk about him with outfielders. You ready to move to second base, Finn? Because I think that's the obvious transition here.
Okay, we're gonna talk about Jose Altuve here, or in left field.
Let's talk about Jose Altuve here because, he's not a fucking left fielder. Just like Freeman, outside chance of 3,000 career hits. And, like, if his 53 career BWAR wasn't going to get him in, wasn't, it's not a slam dunk level of BWAR. Yeah, 3,000 hits, like, basically, I'm pretty sure it's a guarantee to get in if you get 3,000 career hits. And Altuve, I'm not sure exactly where he ranks among second basemen in career home runs, but he might end up leading second baseman in career home runs at the end of his career because his power surge, past the age of 30, it's been something to note. So that's Altuve. Yeah, do you agree that Altuve is like a 90% candidate, I think?
Yeah.
Okay. Other second baseman.
Ketel Marte.
Yeah. Okay. Ketel Marte. We can talk about Ketel.
All very good.
Yeah. Hall of very good. Almost 32. If he pops another couple of his 2024 seasons, it can get interesting because he'll probably push close to 2,000 career hits and, close to 300 career homers, and he'll have a really good slash line. He spent a good bit of time, playing some outfield too in his career, and maybe there could be a sabermetric argument that kind of killed some of his WAR totals, and that could give him a boost. And Ketel Marte is like a maybe, but he's not tracking perfectly right now. But with a couple like great seasons, he could be on pace pretty quickly. You got anything else to say on Ketel?
Playing in Seattle does not help.
Yeah, he didn't play in Seattle for very long though. Like he played there for like a year or two. Yeah, his first 2 seasons in the league, and only one was a full season. I think the more compelling case, even though he is 2 years older, is Marcus Semien. One of the better defensive second basemen, maybe ever. he's going to finish with 2,000 career hits. I feel pretty confident saying that, and be towards the top in second base career home run totals. I think the B WAR is going to be quite short. Currently sits at 45.5. He could push close to 55, 60, and then is he in that Chase Utley range, who I believe just got into the Hall of Fame? He'll be a little bit shy of that, but there have been worse players to stick on a ballot. I think Marcus Semien for sure will stick on the ballot for a while. What do you have to say, Finn?
50-50.
Yeah. It's gonna really depend on how this next couple of years go, but maybe. Maybe. The Ozzy Albies, Finn, we kind of have to mention him because he started so young. He started so young in his career. He's already at 150, near 150 homers and 1,000 hits, 22 career F or B WAR, and he's only 28. So we kind of have to mention him. I don't, he's got plenty of time to get on track. I don't think he's currently on track, but he has plenty of time to get on track. Non-zero, I think, is a good way to put it. Nico Horner's off to a great start in his career, but yeah, I don't think so. Other than that, I don't know if we have anybody at second base besides Altuve, Semien, Marte, and Albies that we need to discuss. What do you think, Finn?
No, we don't.
All right, well, if we got nothing to discuss, let's move right over to third base, where I think we have a lot of guys to discuss.
Mike Trout.
Yeah, let's talk about Mike Trout. I think he has a very interesting third base candidacy. Where do you want to start with third baseman, Finn?
Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, so I think if there was a most underrated award given out every year, I think Jose Ramirez would lead all time with those awards. 32, 1,500 career hits, 250 career homers, 240 career steals. Has improved defensively. I don't see him slowing down anytime soon. He's the best third baseman in the league currently. Finn, I would say yes, 100% is a lock. What do you think? I mean, I doubt you have anything else to say.
Yeah, he's a lock.
It would take a tragic fall off for him to not make it in. And I think another lock here, Finn.
You would have to go pull an Anthony Rendon.
Yeah. He would. Another lock here, Finn, is Manny Machado for me. Because he's also 33. He's close to 2,000 career hits, close to 350 career homers. He's at 342. 58 career B WAR. Won a platinum glove, won a couple gold gloves and silver sluggers. Should have won an MVP regardless. I think Machado's on a great standpoint, Finn. Similar to Altuve and Freeman, he could actually have an outside chance at 3,000 career hits. I don't think he'll get there, but he has an outside chance. He's signed for a fucking eternity. So, you got any opposition to Manny Machado being kind of a lock?
No, I don't. I do have opposition to the Padres front office, though.
But that's for another day. I think being put next to Machado is Arenado quite frequently throughout their careers. For the first chapter of their careers, Arenado was outpacing Machado. Arenado's a year older. And as it currently stands, their career counting numbers are pretty similar. Arenado's a better defensive player, sure, but I think he's a much worse player currently. I do think Arenado will probably make it because he'll get 2,000 career hits. He'll be very close to 400 career homers. He's got 6 fucking platinum gloves and 10 gold gloves. So, yeah, 57 B-War.
Walk.
Like, it'll take a horrible finish to his career for Arenado not to make it. And it would probably take some negative B-War seasons for him to not make it.
He's gonna have to go out here and put up 5 Adolis Garcia 2024s.
Who? Wait, what'd you say?
I said he's gonna have to go out there and put out 5 Adolis Garcia 2024s.
Okay, I thought you were referring to Luis Garcia Jr. because I didn't hear the Adolis. I was like, what are we talking about? Luis Garcia was pretty good last year. Okay. There's a lot more of these third basemen to talk about, Finn. Where do we want to go to next?
Austin Riley.
Okay. I think that's one of the shorter ones. 150 career home runs. He just turned 28. I think Austin Riley, let's talk about him in 3 years. I think he's on a great pace. He could be towards the top in third base career home runs. Mike Schmidt hit almost 600, I think. So I don't think Riley will quite get there, but Austin Riley will be very close. I don't see any way that in 5 years we're not talking about him like we're talking about Machado and Arenado right now. Like, if we're not talking about Riley in that context in 5 years, I would be surprised. I think in a very similar note, we have Rafael Devers. Rafael Devers is a year older, has over 1,000 career hits, over 200 career home runs. Sure, he's moved off third base. I think that's a temporary thing. At least him not playing the field, I think, is a temporary thing. I don't. He got such a young start. What do you have to say on Devers, Finn?
I think it's a permanent thing. I think if he goes back in the field, it'll be the first for as long as Bregman is in a Red Sox uniform.
Should we go ahead and talk about Bregman then?
Yeah.
Because you and I both kind of agree, like, Bregman might be there for 2 years, but there's a good chance he's out there after 1. Almost 1,200 career hits, almost 200 career homers, a 40 career B-War. He just turned 31. Like, sure, the peak of his career was during the juice ball era and the Astros cheating scandal, so that could hurt him a little bit. But yeah, Finn, I don't really see how Bregman falls out of it. And sure, you can argue that his last couple years haven't been as good. They've still been 4-win seasons. So I think Bregman is like, give me like 3 more good years and I think he's a lock. I think he's like an 85% guy. What do you think, Finn?
I would have gone 80, 85.
If Alex Bregman has a 2022 or 2023 Alex Bregman season, Finn, does he opt out?
Yes.
For context, those are 134 OPS plus in 2022 and a 122 in 2023, and then 4.5 and a 4.9 career or B-War in those seasons. Do you think he opts out with those seasons?
I do.
I think so, very easily. Like, and maybe he goes back to Boston, but I don't see a reality where Bregman is staying in that contract very long.
And if he somehow has 2019 again,
oh my God, Finn, he's getting way more than 80 million over 2 years. There's more third basemen in case y'all wanted to talk more about third baseman. Do you know who is 26 years old, Finn?
Juan Soto.
He is 26 years old. You are right. Isaac Paredes is 26 years old. I think we're seeing him tap into what his prime seasons could be. Let's talk about Isaac Paredes in 3 years when he's 29 and probably has had 3 really great seasons in Houston. That's just a shout for him. I don't even really think he's on pace quite yet. Couple guys. I mean, I guess we can shout out Justin Turner. Nothing really more than a shout out. Hall of very good. Let's get 200 career home runs out of you, Justin Turner. But you're not going to make the Hall of Fame. And then Eugenio Suarez, Finn. What do we think?
Oh, very good. Just can't put him on the same turf as Jose Ramirez and Mike Smith.
Eugenio Suarez is going to have a lot of career home runs from a non-first base DH to miss the Hall of Fame. It's going to have a lot.
What's his WAR? Could you get me that?
Currently at a 23.7, and he's 33, almost 34.
I stand with what I said.
It's a no, but shout out Eugenio Suarez. Last, I think, serious candidate at third base, unless I am missing somebody that you will yell at me for. Shout out Max Muncy, but I think it's kind of in that same Suarez land. So it's in Suarez land. Let's not talk about it. There's a certain guy who had a MVP start to his season or to his career. Finn, do you know who it is that I'm referring to?
I don't consider Gunnar Henderson to be a third baseman.
I wasn't talking about Gunnar Henderson. First couple years of his career were like Hall of Fame lock level. Hasn't quite been that since, but he's still been really good. Just signed a big extension to stick with his new team.
Derek Crochet.
We're talking about third baseman here, Finn. We already talked about both Red Sox third basemen.
Vladdy's not a third baseman either. He's a first.
Yeah, but we talked about him with the first baseman. We're talking about Matt Chapman here, Finn. Finn, where do you think Matt Chapman's career B-WAR is right now?
Like, high 40s?
He's at 38. So, much further ahead of Austin Riley and Rafael Devers, who we said in 3 years, let's talk about him. Matt Chapman is 3 years older than those guys, and if Devers and Riley average 4 WAR a season for the next 3 years, they're going to be behind Matt Chapman. How old Matt Chapman's almost 32. How many career home runs do you think he has, Fed?
Like, maybe 220?
He's at 184. He has 2 platinum gloves, 3 gold gloves, all the other defensive awards. For some reason, he doesn't get any fucking All-Star games. He's been awesome. He has 2 7 WAR seasons to his name. Only got 1 All-Star game. He got the Lindor treatment. He actually has 3 7 WAR seasons to his career. And he's looked to have tapped into a new form of his career. Last season was a career low in K rate for Matt Chapman. He's always hit the ball hard. I think he's kind of bouncing back to his Oakland form here in San Francisco. I think, and we talked about it, Matt Chapman, let's say he plays for another 6 seasons and puts up 4 WAR a year for the next 6 seasons. That'll put him in a 60 V WAR. And let's say over those 6 seasons he averages 20 home runs. That'll put him in 300 home run territory, and it's 120 hits a year. It'll put him at a weird hit total, but he'll be close to a 60 B WAR with 300 career home runs. I think Matt Chapman is as good of a candidate as he gets, and that'll put him at his age 37 season. So maybe he racks up a couple more stats. Matt Chapman's at good pace. I think it's slightly below like the Bregman, but like it's kind of just with Bregman.
For him, I'd go like 75.
Yeah, I agree. Like he's just on such a great pace, and he's got the defensive awards. Like he's gonna be in the analytics. People are gonna fight for Matt Chapman. Let me tell you, Finn. All right, let's move forward to shortstop. I think this will be another longer one. What
Mookie
locks do we
Betts.
have? You know what, Finn? Let's talk about him with the outfielders, because the outfielders is going to be a longer debate. Francisco Lindor, I think, is a lock. To this point in his career, he's outpacing Derek Jeter, who was a first ballot Hall of Famer. Francisco Lindor is going to be a shortstop with close to 400 career home runs and like 2,500 career hits. It'd be awesome. For some reason, he doesn't get All-Star Game appearances, even though he's fifth in the NL, and he's like I think he leads the NL in B-WAR since he's joined the Mets.
It's because they'll go and have bad first halves that have the greatest second half of all time.
Yeah, so he'll do his Nick Ahmed impression to start the year, and then he does his Alex Rodriguez impression, I guess, for the rest of the year. I don't know. Let's talk about more of these shortstops, Finn. Where do you want to go to next? Yeah. Seager, let's bunch Seager and Correa together. Seager has 200 career home runs. He's almost 31, 1,200 career hits, 37 career B-WAR. I think with Seager, important to note is he missed a lot of time early in his career. And on a rate basis, he's the best hitting shortstop in the league right now, I would say. I mean, you could argue Bobby Witt, but, Seager's also, like, elite. I think Seager more so than we'll talk about Correa. I think Seager more so than Correa, I do see him maintaining his offense enough to stick at third for a couple years later in his career to pace really well. So I give Seager like that 85 range like we did with Bregman and Matt Chapman. What do you say, Finn?
I would agree. However, I give Carlos Correa a 0.
I don't know about a 0, but
maybe a 50.
I think
Less than Seager.
With Seager as well, if he didn't miss a full season from Tommy John surgery, which never happens with shortstops, we're talking about him very well right now. Let's go to Correa, because I think Correa, he's won a Platinum Glove, he's won a Gold Glove, he won a World Series ring. 44 career B-WAR, Finn. That's better than Corey Seager. He's a year younger than Corey Seager. He's got around the same amount of hit totals as Corey Seager. He's like 13 home runs below Corey Seager. So why are you so much lower on Carlos Correa?
I think the writers are gonna hate the cheating scandal.
Maybe. I go with maybe on Correa. I think just the fact that he's been such a great hitter before and since, I think they'll look away from that, because sure, his best offensive season was in 2017, but his 2021 season wasn't so much of a slouch. Neither was his 22 season. Neither was his 2016 season. And he's
Where
just such
was
a great
he in
defensive player.
2022? Was he on the Twins yet?
Yes, he was on the Twins. In his Twins career, he's already put up 10 career B-WAR in 3 full seasons. I feel like I kind of would place Correa and Seager around the same place. Correa, I feel a little less strongly on, because I think the glove will start to go, and that's a big chunk in his value versus Seager. I think he maintains some pretty good value at second or third base. What do you think, Finn?
Yeah, I could agree with that. Also, I could see Seager being able to play first base with his numbers. Correa, not so much.
Yeah. If Seager's bat ages well, which I think it will, like he's definitely a better hitter than Correa. But Correa's definitely a better defensive player. Yeah.
I agree with that too.
About
Correa
the same
Jack a
place
better
on those
defensive
guys.
player.
Yep. Let's see. I mean, Bobby Witt's on pace, Gunnar Henderson's on pace, but yeah, they're on pace 2.5, 3 years in their career. So,
LA Deal Cruz, honestly, just need to see more.
yeah, same thing. Like they're on pace, but like they're pacing so early in their career that they're on pace. Trey Turner, we got to talk about, Finn, because you know I think he's really good, and he's in the WAR thresholds that Seager and Correa are. But I think we've already seen the glove go with Turner. Like the glove was pretty bad last year. The counting numbers are about the same as those other guys. Turner's going to have the steals. But I think the glove's already going. I don't know if he'll rack up the B WAR like that. Or the F WAR, especially the F WAR. Because they actually do defense a little bit better. 36.7 career B WAR. He's 32 years old. What do we think on Turner?
It's a no.
I'm gonna say it's a probably not. Is the way I would phrase it. It's a probably not. You know, he's signed till the end of time, and that goes in line with another guy that we at least have to talk about because he's also only 32 years old, and that's Xander Bogaerts. He's at 1,700 career hits, Finn, and 186 career homers, and he's signed till the end of time. And I think he'll put together enough 2 WAR seasons to get to like 55 career WAR, and he'll have some decent counting numbers. What do you think about Xander Bogaerts?
30-70. The 70 being no.
Yeah, I agree. 2 World Series wings is great. Helps him. And the Padres being the Padres
Wait,
also
2
helps.
World Series rings? When did he win?
Yeah.
That's 2018.
2013 with Boston.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think Bogarts is a great case, but like damn it, he's done so much of the heavy lifting early in the career that like he just has to be able to play at age 40. If he's able to play at age 40, then it's going to be hard to keep him out.
Dansby Swanson.
Now, this was the case that I made to you off air that you originally were like, definitely not. And I was like, well, let me make the case to you. Dansby Swanson's been accumulating stats since he was 23. He wasn't very good until he was 28. He was decent before then, but once he got to 28, from 28 to 30, he's put up, nearly 15 career WAR, which is about 60% of his career WAR. Also with him, Finn, like he's probably the best defensive shortstop in baseball right now. How long did Andrelton Simmons hold on to a big league role when he wasn't a good enough hitter to play every day?
A very long time.
Forever, dude. And I think Swanson's a much better hitter right now than Simmons ever was. And I think Swanson will continue to be a much better hitter. He's already at 1,000 career hits. Like, I could see Swanson playing till he's 40. just because I think the glove will keep him in the league for a long time. He plays another 9 seasons, gets to like 2,400 career hits, wins like 5 Gold Gloves. Let's say over those 9 seasons, let's say he has 4 seasons at a 4-win pace. That's 16. That gets him up to 40. Then he has the rest of those 5 seasons are at like a 2-win pace. That gets him to a 50. Like, it's not a perfect candidacy, but he's going to have enough counting stats that when he holds into the league for a long time, people are going to argue for a Swanson Hall of Fame case. I don't think he will be. I'd say if I were to make the picks when it's all said and done, Swanson probably wouldn't be, but some people are going to argue for Dansby Swanson to make the Hall of Fame once his career is all said and done.
If he did, what hat do you think it'd be wearing? A Braves hat or a Cubs hat?
Just because he only had one good Cubs or Braves season, I mean, it's got to be a Cubs, right? Because like I said, like since his 2022 season, which was his last Braves season, he's put up 70% of his career WAR. So, Finn, we got to go to these outfielders before this episode runs to 8 hours long. Because I'm sure we'll be talking about Dalton Varsho pretty soon. Let's see, Finn. Let's start with Andrew McCutchen.
I think he makes it.
How many career home runs do you think Andrew McCutchen has, Finn?
Like 350.
320 right now. He will play probably the rest of the season. He'll get to 2,200 hits and more home runs. He's got a 50 B WAR. His F WAR is actually higher. He was a pretty great defender. In his peak, and B WAR isn't great at figuring out who was actually great at defense. I think McCutchen is probable. I could see, writers being sticklers about it, but I think McCutchen should be a Hall of Famer. There's this certain angel. I think you've heard of him. It's Joe Adell. He had a ridiculous age 21 season where he battled with some Miggy Cabrera guy for the MVP. People think the WAR stat is made up for him. Mike Trout's making the Hall of Fame, Finn.
100%.
What do you think his WAR, his B WAR is currently, Finn?
Like 53.
Finn. You're you're one Brandon Nimmo away from being right there.
Really, an entire Brandon Nimmo?
Yeah, so let's see what your knowledge of Brandon Nimmo's career WAR is. Where do you think, given that statement, where do you think your new calibrated answer is?
About 37.
What? Why'd you go backwards?
Like 70?
Sorry, what did you say?
70?
You're still undershooting it.
76.2?
You're still undershooting it.
80?
Still.
85?
Mike Trout's current B WAR is an 86.1. His current F4 is an 85.8. Do you know how many career home runs Mike Trout has, Finn?
381.
You're on his baseball reference page now, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. People talk about Mike Trout not being able to put up the counting numbers. He's still going to finish with 400 home runs and probably 2,000 career hits.
Still an outside chance he finishes with 500.
Yeah, there's still an outside. He's only 33. He averages 15 a year for the next 7 years. It's putting him pretty close to 500. It's putting him over 450.
Not to mention, when was the last time someone got 100 career WAR?
Albert Pujols, I think, was just outside of it. Mike Trout is Mike Trout should be a unanimous Hall of Famer.
It's not like someone needs to go select the writers. And Pujols, I believe, was over it. He had 101.3.
Okay. Mike Trout, the only reason he isn't a unanimous Hall of Famer is if somebody does some strategic voting and knows that Mike Trout's going to get in regardless and is like, hey, let's keep David Robertson on the ballot. Let's make sure David Robertson gets his 5%. Because everybody's going to go to bat for Trout. Nobody's going to bat for David Robertson. All right. Other outfielders, Finn. There's that Mookie Betts guy you talked about. Do we have to talk about Mookie Betts?
Honestly, not really. He's a Hall of Famer.
Mookie's a lock. He's 32. He's gonna, he's got. Finn, what do you think Mookie's career B WAR is?
70.
70.9. Booyah, Finn. He's gonna just
I
have
would
such.
think it very good, but definitely less than Mike Trout.
Yeah. Mookie Betts will go down as the second best position player in this era. Easily.
Here's the best.
Mike Trout. I'm saying from the 2010s era.
Yeah.
I'd say Pujols was the 2000s.
Yeah, I'm with it. Trout.
Aaron Judge exists. He, I think he hit 20 home runs last year. The year before, he was fully healthy, so he got 25, and then the other year he hit 30. What do you think about Aaron Judge, Finn?
He definitely did not have a Hall of Fame performance in the 2024 World Series. But regardless, he's a lock.
Finn, he's gonna. He has two of the best seasons of all time in 2022 and 2024, and it's looking like he's gonna do it again. Finn, do you know what his current OPS is?
I don't.
It's 1310. So maybe Aaron Judge hits 80 home runs this year. He's gonna have the best peak of all time. Aaron Judge is. I think Aaron Judge is a lock. Let's not talk anymore about Aaron Judge. Bryce Harper. We could have talked about him in the first base section. I think Bryce Harper is give me 2 more good seasons. I would say Aaron Judge is also in that situation, but I think I trust Aaron Judge to have 2 more good seasons, a little bit more than Harper. What do you think, Finn?
I'd agree.
Harper's excellent. He's going to play first base. It's going to hurt his WAR totals, but he's actually really great defensively there, so maybe it doesn't hurt him too much. His MVPs help him. Maybe Bryce Harper has a 3rd MVP in him. It'd be great. Let's see. I think those are the lock guys.
We just paid this guy $800 million.
Yeah, do you want to talk about? Yeah, let's talk about the Pacers. Which shit. maybe we should be talking about Juan Soto as more of a lot guy, because who do you think has a higher career B-WAR? Him or Trey Turner?
Him.
It's the same. Juan Soto already has 200 career home runs, Finn. He's 26. Outside chance at 200, or 3,000 career hits, and 600 career homers. Legitimately does. He's awesome.
Non-zero chance at 700.
Yeah. Low chance, but non-zero. I would say it's unlikely that he doesn't make the Hall of Fame, because I think his skill set also ages very well. Despite people telling you that he's not good defensively.
His defense definitely won't age very well, but I think that bat will.
Yeah, I don't think that bat will fall off. Should we do our George Springer shout out, Finn?
Sure.
Shout out George Springer. That's all we're gonna say about George Springer. Sounds reductive, but he was really good. Christian Yelich.
All very good.
Hall of very good. Damn it, if he didn't get hurt so many times, he would have been awesome.
Exactly what you just said.
Yeah. 2024 was looking like the resurgence. He got hurt. I don't doubt that he will have a couple more good years and, put up some decent counting numbers. He's not been a great defender for a while now. There's Yelich. More Pacers. We got Pacers. Going to be the best free agent this offseason. Kyle Tucker. Regardless of what happened with Vladimir Guerrero. Kyle Tucker's 28. Already has 130 career homers, 24 WAR. Give me a couple really great seasons, and we'll talk about in 3 years. Kind of like the Austin Riley, Rafael Devers type of thing. Let's talk about in 3 years.
Yeah. I'm with you there. Also, damn it, Cody Bellinger. If you didn't get hurt after 2019.
Yeah, Cody Bellinger we need to talk about in this Pacers tier too, because, he's a year and a half older than Kyle Tucker and has about the same WAR totals. Put up a ton of counting stats. Has been on some really good teams. Has an MVP season. And I think that's hurting Kyle Tucker. I think if there's a resurgence in Bellinger and he has a couple more of those 2023 Cubs seasons in him, then Bellinger has a pretty good chance. But we need some of those 2023 seasons to stack up like pretty quickly before. So talk about in 3 years with Bellinger.
I'm with you there.
Fernando Tatis. I think he's tracking very well. 22 career WAR. Missed a ton of seasons. He's only 26. Somehow Fernando Tatis is only 26. Excellent defensive player. I think that's going to hold up until his mid-30s at least. Steals bases, hits bombs. Missed a whole fucking season of his prime. I think if that doesn't happen, we're talking about him a lot more favorably right now. But right now, he's just pacing very good. Let's talk about somebody who hasn't missed a full season, but he's missed more than a full season's worth of games during his prime.
Acuna?
Ronald Acuna. We've had the Acuna conversation you and I have. He is looking on track, right? But do you know how much B-WAR he's put up since his MVP?
1.
0.0. I don't know. Hit totals are already pretty high for him. He is 27 currently. Home run totals look pretty good. It's just I am a little concerned. He did not look good coming back from, at all really last season, and now he's coming back from a second ACL and a second knee. If we get more of his, 2019 seasons, I think he's looking very good. I'm not sure if he has another MVP in him. If he does, I don't know. We had made the discussion off camera. If he has one more MVP in him, I don't even know if that locks him in, because those other seasons really makes the difference. Like, let's say he repeats what happened in 22 through 4. In 22 and 4, he didn't really get to put up much counting numbers because he wasn't very good in those seasons. I think he would be better off with multiple 2019 seasons than repeating 2022 through 2024. But Acuna's tracking pretty well. Probably, but we'll just have to see with Acuna.
Couple of young guys. J-Rod and Jackson Merrill.
Jackson Merrill, like I've told you, Finn, I've never thought so highly of a rookie hitter. Please prove us right, Jackson Merrill. That contract extension would be a steal if you prove us right. J-Rod as well. Great pace to start his career. Do you have anybody else, Finn?
Nope.
Dalton
Dave
Roberts. Let's talk about Dalton Varsho, because I think it's very underrated that no player that has played catcher and center field has put up a 15 career B-WAR while being traded for another catcher in their career before turning 29 years old. But I'm sure that's probably actually happened already. I don't know. I made that up off the top of my head. No more Dalton Varsho talk. Dave Roberts probably makes the Hall of Fame. Yeah,
Kato.
Maybe we'll see. That's gonna basically.
Rangers manager Bruce Bochy.
All right, enough manager talk. You got anything else before we wrap this episode up?
No.
So that'll do it. Next week's episode, we're trying the bi-weekly recap thing for MLB. Let's see how it works. We'll see you guys next week on Wednesday.
Yeah.